Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort in commentary, Ashton, and this is our Lucha Underground review. Oh my god, tonight's Lucha Underground. There's a lot I could say about it, and we'll get to that. But what I'm going to say immediately is another great episode. Very interesting cinematic segments tonight, with some of your favorites and some of the more intriguing storylines. Some excellent in-ring matches, particularly the main event and the Gift of the Gods Championship match. I actually feel like was surprisingly excellent as well. This was just a very, very well-rounded episode of Lucha Underground, and personally my favorite of the season. And again, we'll get to that, but I loved it. Partner, what'd you think of it?
Dude, this was a wonderful episode of Lucha Underground. The result of the main event really was just put a great, nice little bow on the gift that is Lucha Underground.
Yeah, dude, so good. So good. With that said, do you have any other preliminary remarks you want to make?
Man, let's just talk about this show.
Yeah, man, I can tell you're in that chill mood. I'm still kind of turned up, but I'm also chill, dude. Let's just revel in the greatness, and let's do it with our Lucha Underground review. And Ashton, we open up straight away with, in my mind, at the very least, a mild shocker here.
You think so?
I was surprised that we saw what we saw. So what did we get here, Ashton?
Well, we got Pentagon and Vampiro well, I don't know about backstage, in whatever little, I almost want to call it a temple because that's kind of what it looks like, but then the word temple has been always synonymous with the temple. But they're in their little dojo, I guess you could call it. And Pentagon insists that he's ready.
Yes, and he makes this insistence, and this is the point of shock, because, at least for me, because he's walking. I mean, I think it was just so jarring to me, because wasn't it just last week that he was suspended in that contraption and he took the barbed wire bat to the head?
Well, yeah, I'm telling you, I told you last week, that suspension thing is designed to help people with broken backs recover.
That is true. You did say that to me, and I guess I should have given it greater adherence because it obviously worked. And we get, at least in my opinion, Ashton, a dynamic very similar to Black Lotus and the original El Dragon Azteca, with Vampiro, of course, in that mentor role, really telling Pentagon, really emphasizing to him, no, you're not ready. Pentagon, as you said, though, is very insistent. Yes, I am. I have zero fear, this and that. But Vampiro keeps saying, look, you can go back to the temple, but you can't face that monster. So let me ask you, Ashton, I mean, do you think this is going to cause a rift in their relationship? Do you think Pentagon has too much respect for Vampiro, that he's going to really adhere to those orders? What do you think is going to happen here?
Yeah, man, I think that there already is kind of a rift. I think that the rift began when Vampiro poured that hot wax on Pentagon's head.
Right.
I think that Vampiro sees Pentagon as kind of having sort of lost his edge and sort of, gone soft. And, I think that to Vampiro, it sort of comes off as Pentagon is more concerned with almost appealing to the fans and trying to get their adoration rather than trying to just be brutal and violent and break arms and stuff like that.
Let me ask you a follow-up question.
Okay.
Again, kind of in the realm of this segment, right? You and I, way back when we did Season 2 trailer reactions, one scene that stuck out to both of us that I don't think's occurred yet was the multiple Pentagons, if you remember.
Yeah.
Do you think it could go against it? Do you think that this is any grounding in that Pentagon may go out on his own and create his own army of virtually just himself in spite of Vampiro? Do you think that's a possibility?
That's a very interesting take. I don't know. Maybe we might even get like Vampiro's like, look, man, I can't contain you. I can't stop you from going to the temple. But if you're going to go, at least don't go alone.
Right, right. And you know what's so scary to me? And again, I'm just trying to frame things in their proper context. Of course, everything I think is going to have just a smidge of fantasy booking. When you think about an army of Pentagons, what is their creed, right? Zero fear. So all of these Pentagons have zero fear. I could see the head Pentagon having all of these, like, what I'll call clone Pentagons doing some crazy shit to send a message. Like, I could really see this getting just wild and almost anarchic in a way. And I'm just very intrigued because we still haven't seen that scene yet. And I do think about it when you talk about the tension in Vampiro and Pentagon's relationship. I wonder if this is going to be a retort for just all of Vampiro just admonishing Pentagon and everything. So just something to keep in the back of our minds here.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, that's honestly, I think that might even be the only scene from the trailer that we haven't seen yet.
I think you're right about that.
Because I think everything else we've seen. I mean, we saw the little girl in ancient times where Aerostar approached them. We saw Puma and Pentagon dueling. That was a while ago. The first episode we saw Stryker and Vampiro pulling that big sheath off the car. We've seen pretty much everything. I mean, we even saw Tejano getting the chair broken over him in his vignette earlier this season. We've seen everything.
Can I just put one more theory on the table before I move on?
Please do.
I'm thinking, because we know when Pentagon was in that suspender, to just stretch his back out and everything, Vampiro had a very violent response, again, with the barbed wire 2x4 to the back of the head. Could Pentagon retort with a 2x4 or a bat wrapped in barbed wire of his own, hit Vampiro in the back of the head, and all the Pentagons that we're seeing is from Vampiro's perspective being possibly concussed from a blow like that? Maybe it's the product of rebellion by Pentagon.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's a different take, and I really think you might be onto something there. Maybe there aren't literally like 7 Pentagons or more. Maybe it's just somebody seeing them as that because they're either under some kind of a drug or on the brink of passing out or something, maybe drunk. I don't know. You never know. It might be something like that. Yeah.
What I love about Lucha Underground, though, and then this is going to be my final thought, and anything
Okay.
you would want to add, feel free. I love that both theories kind of have an equivalency to them, because given Lucha Underground's mythos, I wouldn't put it past them to have some kind of magic or some way to get a multitude of Pentagons, like physically tangible in reality. And at the same time, I could easily see, with everything that Pentagon has been subjected to, for him to violently lash out at Vampiro, and then what we saw was just from his concussed, very dazed, maybe even bloodied perspective, like, oh, I can't believe he did this to me simply because I said he wasn't ready. And then maybe he'd even proclaim, like, well, I just showed you that I'm ready, because if I did that to you and I care about you, what am I going to do to Matanza, who did this to me?
It's funny, too, because I've actually been using that image of the 7 Pentagons really, really faintly. Like, you can barely see it, but it's still there in our live reaction backgrounds this entire season.
Really?
Yeah.
That makes me have to, like, go back and see, because, I mean, my God, this is really embarrassing because I'm your co-host, for Christ's sake, but I didn't even notice. Yeah. So that's crazy, dude.
Like, if you look at our background for our live reactions, every background is the same. I just changed the episode number on each one.
Right.
But, every single one of them, you can very faintly see the 7 Pentagons chilling out in the background.
Dude, that's so fucking cool. Yeah, I gotta have a keener eye. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see for myself. That's such a cool touch, dude. But anyway, do you have anything you want to add? Any theories of your own? Any general thoughts about this?
I mean, it's funny because I'm all about coming up with fan theories and stuff, but this Pentagon Vampiro thing that's been going on, I'm just not even touching that with a 20-foot pole. I just want to see how it unfurls.
I don't blame you, man. I'm glad that I was at least able to put, I guess, 2 decent theories on the table. I'll be honest.
You're taking swings and you're knocking them out of the park, but I'm afraid to even get up to bat right now.
I don't blame you. And I'll be honest, like, I do like the theory, probably because it's more grounded, of the multitude of Pentagons just being a product of mutiny of some kind. So we'll see. But with that said, I guess we can move on.
Well, if you want to move on, up next was our first match of the night, which happened to be Joey Ryan versus Mascarita Sagrada, which, of course, because it is Mascarita, you know that Melissa isn't going to be able to make both of these announcements. Famous B hands her a card and then kind of slyly grabs the microphone from out of her hands and makes the Sagrada announcement for himself because he is, of course, famous.
Exactly. Now, For this match, I want to field yet another question to you because you had a great insight to me in our live reactions. So I can't wait for everybody, to listen to everything we got coming up here. You said that before Famous B, Mascarita was winning more. And it seems like
literally one more. He had one win before Famous B, and he has 0 wins post Famous B.
Right. And I'm glad you said it like that. He has 0 wins post Famous B. So like this whole management, everything. Well, I even said, and I feel like Mascarita's techniques have been sharpened, in ring. He's more tactical in some ways, maybe even a bit more Rudo-esque, with some of the tactics.
Shrewd, I think, is the word you used.
Shrewd is a great word. My question to you is, Mascarita isn't winning. Famous B clearly is taking stock of this because after the match when he's helping Mascarita up, he's just got this look of frustration on his face because he realizes that the performances of his clientele is a reflection of him, right? Because the whole thing is, I'll make you famous. Well, if Mascarita isn't winning, that makes Famous B look bad. So my question to you is, and I know this is hard because it's Lucha Underground, what do you think the end game is here? Do you think Famous B is just going to dump Mascarita and maybe get a Rudo client that starts winning more? Do you think maybe Mascarita will find a way to win? What do you think the end game is, knowing where we are and knowing what the storyline is?
Man, I don't even know. I think it kind of feels like a Honma story to me. It feels like they're building up to the point where Mascarita finally gets that big win. Now, my question to you is, do you think that big win will come under the guise or under the management of Famous B, or do you think in order to get that win, Mascarita is going to have to become independent and break away from Famous B?
I'm going to answer your question exactly as you asked it, because let me just preface this by saying if I was imposing my own subjectivity upon it, I would like it to come under Famous B's management, because I do think that'd be different. Because if he does break away from Famous B, we did get something similar when Son of Havoc dumped Ivelisse, because then he won. So I think it would be different. But if I'm answering you honestly and answering the question that you asked, I do think Mascarita will get that big win only after he's dumped Famous B. But I should also add that I think Famous B will find success, but it will be with a purely Rudo client, maybe even somebody that hasn't even been in the temple yet. So, yeah, so we'll see.
I wonder if Sagrada is anywhere around.
Ooh, that's a possibility.
The original that Mascarita is the mini version of.
Exactly. And
that would be interesting if Famous B would be able to get that guy and then just kind of kick Mascarita to the side, and then Mascarita has to kind of fight his way up from the bottom again.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Famous B storyline still intrigues me because we talked about Famous B so much, particularly in Lucha Rewatch when we did that whole series, and I've been loving what he's been doing. I'm still a bit salty, never answered my call, but, in all seriousness, it's great stuff, and I'm just wondering what the end game is. So getting your kind of insight, then you volleying it back to me, like, where do I think Mascarita's success is going to come from? I mean, well, I'll just ask you point blank. I mean, do you agree with me that Famous B will find success, or do you think this is going to be a total flame out and maybe he'll just get back in the ring and just be like, hey, if you want to be famous, you got to do it yourself kind of thing?
I feel like I don't remember if it was the Last Real Heels or if it was Face Like Feministas, or it might have even been Way Too Real. I listened to a lot of Lucha Underground podcasts, but I remember somebody mentioning that it would be cool if Famous B was kind of putting Sagrada through a trial, and his final sort of obstacle was, you have to go through me. I'm unretiring. I'm coming out of retirement to face my disciple, and now if you can beat me, you're ready.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool, because the whole thing, again, is I'll make you famous. Well, yeah. Nobody's more famous than Famous B. I mean, it's in the name.
Yep.
So and that just seems like something Lucha Underground would do, which it's weird to even say like I have an authority on what Lucha Underground would do, but that's interesting. I'm definitely not opposed to that. But if you guys couldn't tell, Mascarita does lose this match. Joey Ryan does get the win. And Joey Ryan's night wouldn't end there, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Fun match. And yeah, just a lot of questions about Famous B and Mascarita.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that other Joey Ryan segment too, somehow.
That's huge. Yeah, that segment was huge. I tried to keep it in mind because you know where my mind's been at, which again we'll get to. But any other comments you have about Mascarita's match?
No other comments about Mascarita. Let's move on. Up next, I think we had a commercial break, but when we got back from the commercial, we got a vignette for Taya.
Oh, this was excellent.
You were such a fan of this, and I love that.
I was a fan of so much tonight. Get your counters ready, people, because that weird noise you heard emitted from my throat, yeah, that was one. That was one. This vignette was great, dude. It's funny because, and I'm not going to do any spoilers because I hate it and I wouldn't want to be a hypocrite, but if you look at mediums like Game of Thrones, their latest season, there is so much female empowerment there. And I love how Lucha Underground treats their women. And we've talked about this before. One thing that I've loved to say in one soundbite is that Lucha Underground never had to even use the words women's revolution. They just picked up arms and they had one. And when you have a vignette like this with a woman who is so confident, which I think is important, because in this day and age, we're always bombarded with, well, what's beauty? What's this? What's that? And this is almost a kind of, and I don't want to commit hyperbole here. I don't mean to do that. But I almost feel like there's a kind of poetry in this cinematic because Taya's looking in a mirror, the ultimate show of self-perception. And she's like, do you see any flaws, blemishes, this and that? Well, I don't. I love that she affirms that confidence and that pride in who she is. And then she takes that same confidence and that pride and she kicks everybody's ass. Like all these masked people stepping up to her, she shuts them down. And then the great part, which you caught, Ashton, to your credit, she strolls out wherever she was, probably some party because she goes to all the finest soirees, obviously. And you
Fiestas.
Fiesta, there you go. That's the end of it. Fiestas. And you see Johnny Mundo just killing that tux, motherfucker. And they're just like, this place is cool and all, but we're us, so let's go somewhere else. So they get in the car, and my cohort in commentary here made an excellent observation, and I'm going to field this to you, Ashton, here in a second. You noted that Taya was driving the car. And I even like that because, again, I don't want to read too much in any one segment, right? But this culture, it's always, subservience or just lesser or this and that. She's driving the car. So even if they didn't mean it to be a message of, like, female empowerment and this and that, I still like it because it's like,
well,
she's in the driver's seat.
It shouldn't need to be a message of female empowerment. That should just be like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, everyone drives cars. Why is it a big deal that a female does?
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. And if we're being honest, too, if we're talking about, like, in character, Taya really has been, like, a huge part of Mundo's success. And, she's been a great asset to, what I like to call and what he's called, the John Tourage and things like that. Like, she is a powerful and legitimate figure, and she brings so much to the table. I loved everything about this cinematic. I want to know, what did you think about it? Just from the setting and everything that was done, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought this was really cool. I like that Lucha Underground isn't afraid to give character development to people that have been around for a while.
Right.
I like that the people that get vignettes aren't just people that have just showed up or are just getting ready to show up that haven't shown up yet, like in WWE, where if you see a vignette, there's a 98% chance that it's for a debuting talent, and there's a 99% chance that they're not going to tell you when that person's debuting.
Right.
It's so obnoxious, and I hate it, and I told you that. But now, I mean, Lucha Underground, they've done this so many times that, like, I don't want me talking about it now to make it seem like this is a brand new thing, because it's not. But they've gotten so good at actually, giving their performers characters that they can then expand on and give you more depth on. I really just love that. And I love that Taya, even though she's been around for a few months now, we're still finding more out about her.
Right. And she got a nickname here, the perfection of Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love it so much. This was great. This is absolutely great. If you guys can't tell, I'm smiling just talking about it.
And by the way, wonderful. She punched a wine glass.
She did. It was so classy and badass at the same time.
And it exploded.
It did. Into a million pieces. Oh, my God.
Yeah, this is really cool. But up next, we hear certain, really well-spoken King Cuerno.
Yes.
He's so well-spoken. It's amazing how good his English sounds.
Brother, I gotta give you the ball on this one.
Yeah, I'll
because
take
you were the original King Cuerno,
yeah.
big time fan.
I'll take the ball, man.
Yeah.
I love that we're just chilling out in this cabin that has a seemingly endless supply of animal heads hanging up on the walls. And next thing you know, we pan over, and who should be chilling out in a coffin, which is also kind of covered in a thick sheet of glass, but Mil Muertes, who we knew Cuerno took him. We knew that Cuerno was part of the small group of people that were removing Cuerno, or that were removing Mil from the temple. So we kind of figured that he would end up in Cuerno's possession. But now the question has to become, is Mil alive? If he is, does he have a plan to escape? And if he isn't, is Katrina going to revive him?
Well, I'll turn your own questions back around at you, Ash. I mean, what do you think to the answers of your own questions? Is Muertes alive?
I don't know. I'm asking the questions because of the fact that I don't know the answer. That's usually why questions get asked.
That's true. That's true. I just didn't know if like you had any
I don't even have a
theory,
man. I have no clue.
Can I just say, because I remember, and it may have even been like the Cuerno spotlight we did, or early season 1 commentaries actually, where I said I thought it would be cool if Cuerno as a hunter would collect luchadors' masks and luchadoras' masks as like trophies. Cuerno was like, oh, fuck that. I don't take masks. I take the whole freaking carcass. I take everything. And just seeing the imagery of Mil Muertes in that glass casing was so brilliant. Oh my god, it fits so well with the atmosphere of just deer heads and like all the trophies and everything. And it is a great question, like, is Katrina gonna try and find Mil? Is he even alive? If he's alive, here's my question for Cuerno and King Cuerno fans. If Muertes is alive, can whatever he's contained in, well, contain him? Because can he punch through it? Can he rip out of it? And if so, I mean, Cuerno's fucked, at least in my mind. It's just, what an amazing step for the Cuerno character. Because to me, like, we already know kind of where the world title picture is going, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So, like, what do you give a high-profile guy? And I would regard King Cuerno as a high-profile guy at this point. I'm sure you feel the same. Like, what do you give him to do? And I'm loving this story, dude. It's just so good. I mean, what are you thinking right now? Because this is just excellent.
Yeah, at this point, this is another one of those wait-and-see feuds, man. I want to see where they go with this. More importantly, I think that the number one most important factor in this specific storyline is where Katrina is.
Yes. Like, where is she? Like, that's the thing. We know Sinestro is doing his own thing. Now, he competed in Gift of the Gods last week, and really, there were no cinematics with him pondering where Katrina was or where Mil was. Like, he just seems pretty autonomous at this point. But Katrina, and now the status of Mil Muertes in terms of alive or dead, that's up in the air now. Like, so many questions at this point. And just to see King Cuerno in this position of power, to be in control of the pieces on the board, I think is such a great position for his character to be in. Because if you think about it, earlier in the season, Ashton, he was pretty subservient. You know what I mean? Like, he beat Phoenix with the Gift of the Gods, sure, but he worked out a deal with Katrina. It always seemed like he was under Katrina. Well, Katrina's gone, and Cuerno owns Mil Muertes. The trophy of Mil Muertes, as I'll put it. I mean, you want to talk about a reversal of fortunes. I don't think anybody's had a bigger one than King Cuerno this season.
Yeah. I mean, Cuerno is kind of in that weird place where he's incredibly reliable and he's always got something going on, but he's never really tasted what the world title picture feels like.
Yes.
Like, he's had world title shots before, but they've never really felt earned,
Absolutely. And now I guess that'll be a good question that I can ask you, because we'll stay away from the whole Mil territory. You don't really know. I don't know. I don't think really anybody knows. Do you think this feud is going to catapult Cuerno in season 3 potentially to that world title picture? Do you think he could be like a major contender next season after like all this? Do you see that potential there?
I think so. I think the potential's there.
I totally agree with you. I think the potential's there. It took me a bit longer than you, of course, to see like the real value in King Cuerno, but now that I have, to me, it's at a point now where when I see him do work like this, I'm just convinced like it wouldn't be a mistake to put him in the title picture at any time, regardless of what's going on. He's just that quality of worker to me, and I definitely think season 3. I think it's his time, but not in the sense that I think he'll win it, but I think he'll be a prominent part of it, of that world title picture. So we'll see. This segment was fucking amazing, though. I loved it. I love the imagery. It's so good. So, any other remarks you want to make?
No, man. Let's move on. Up next was our second match of the night, Chavo versus Cage, and this was actually a really well done match, well fought between both guys. The psychology of this match was absolutely on point. You know, every single time Cage steps in the ring, he's got one gear, one mentality, one state of mind, and that is, fifth gear, attack, attack, attack. And Chavo used that to his advantage to do quite a bit of countering and do a really good job of fending Cage off for as long as he could. But at the end of the day, you can only fend off a machine for so long.
Yeah. Cage putting Chavo down with that Steiner screwdriver and getting the victory. Guys, to Ashton's point, a well-fought match. Psychology was on point. Chavo really focusing on the leg of Cage. Tried to be wily, show some ingenuity, had the speed advantage, which worked at times, not so much at other times. But the Swolverine, and I love the ring attire of Cage too, by the way, the yellow and black singlet, and I think it had even some red mixed in it. Total X-Men colors, total Wolverine vibe. Loved it. So I guess now I'll field, another question to you, Ashton. Cage is Gift of the Gods champion. He won it against Steiner Screwdriver. He makes a proclamation, immediately gunning for Matanza. Now, you've already answered the first half of this question. Because, we had a conversation about it, but I'll have you reiterate it for our audience. But my two-part question is, what do you think of Cage's chances against Matanza? Because he laid down the gauntlet for next week. He's cashing in. But I think the more interesting question that I thought of while we were talking about this match, do you think Cueto is going to honor that cash? And I mean, I know he set the rules of engagement and Cage is playing by them, but Cueto does have an emotional investment given that Matanza's his brother. Do you think he's going to try and put Cage through some trials before he can cash in, kind of like Katrina did with Phoenix? Or do you think they're just going to play it by the numbers and Cage is going to get his title shot?
I think that we're going to just play it by the numbers, man. I think Cage has to get his title shot. I don't think... because the thing is, if Cueto reneges on the Gift of the Gods next week, you have to wonder if anyone is going to believe him when it comes to the Gift of Gods in the future.
Right, I see what you're saying.
Like, well, just as long as your brother is champion, Gift of the Gods is meaningless, basically.
I think what you're, and I get what you're driving at, because what I think you're driving at, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if you would do that in this kind of a universe that has been set up in Lucha Underground, it sets a very precarious precedent for, okay, rules don't really matter. I just do whatever the hell I want on a whim. And Cueto's never really been that character, so it would even be a character inconsistency for him. Like, yeah, he's a dirtbag a lot of the time, but he's a dirtbag with at least some kind of a codified system. Some set of rules that he abides by. So I actually am in complete agreement with you after that response. I don't think he's going to renege on it at all. I think, that they are going to do the cash-in, but again, that leads to the initial part. I mean, what do you think of Cage's chances next week?
If we were just talking about like a shoot fight, like just one man versus one other man, they're going to fight and the best man's going to win, I would have to pick Cage all day.
Right.
But knowing that this is Lucha Underground, knowing that going up against Cage is not only a force of freaking nature in Matanza Cueto, but knowing that Dario is also going to be at ringside, knowing that even if Cage would win, that I could see Dario Cueto, making some kind of a weird exception to reverse the decision. I don't know. I think Matanza is still going to manage to walk away with the title next week, even though I think Cage is going to present him with his greatest challenge yet.
I agree with you on the latter half of everything you said. The shoot fight, I'll be honest, I'm a bit more hard-pressed because, I mean, the guy that plays Matanza, Jeff Cobb, does have legitimate amateur experience.
Yeah, dude, I get that, but there are weight classes for a reason.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. And Cage, he's in a class by himself. Jesus, Cage's muscles in places. Most people don't even have places.
Cage is at least 40 pounds heavier than Matanza.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe Jeff Cobb could get some kind of a leverage advantage, work that against Cage, but Cage is such a beast. I don't know, man. I can certainly see where you're coming from on all counts. Again, I wholeheartedly agree with your latter assessment. Matanza retains, and just he keeps on his warpath. Because to me, and it's been no spoiler, because I know you and I have said this before, I really believe the endgame for Ultimate Lucha 2 is Pentagon Matanza, the rematch.
Yeah.
I'd really be surprised if it was anything else. Maybe pleasantly surprised, knowing Lucha Underground and their president. But, I would really be shocked. So, but can I just say, because I said this in live reactions, Cage's trajectory this season has been wonderful to watch. I mean, he's really connected as a Technico, which I'll be honest, I had my reservations, like, could he pull it off or not? But the crowd does say with him, because he said tonight, I'm not a monster, and then he let the crowd say, you're a machine, and it's a nice response. Certainly better than Roman Reigns right now, because I know we always take our digs there. So yeah, it's just been great watching Cage's growth, and even if he doesn't win the world title this season, and I say this, again, with all the sincerity in the world, I'd put his name on it, because I think it's only a matter of time before he gets a run with that title. Not a doubt in my mind. So,
can I ask you a question, John?
Absolutely.
Has Chavo Guerrero ever had a better match?
No, this was his best match by far, and I'm glad you asked that.
Especially a singles match.
Yeah.
Because, I'm sure that there might be some tag matches from the SmackDown 6 era that you could say were better than this, that Chavo was a part of. But has Chavo ever had a better singles match than this?
Not that I'm aware of, no. No, maybe that'll be a point of contention among our audience, and that's certainly all right. But, and it's funny, too, because even the match that he had with Puma, and I think Puma is one of just the best workers in pro wrestling right now, just period. I don't think it was as good as this match. Like, I just feel like this match really was Chavo's best effort. Maybe he had a little bit of extra pep in his step because he was a champion and he was walking in with that little bit of extra heel swagger, and he's like, okay, I'm really going to put my back into this. This was quality stuff from both guys, really. This was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, up next, guys. Oh, man. This segment. Back in the locker room. Jack Evans and PJ Black are chilling out, and Taya shows up with a beat-up Phoenix. And Evans and Black are pissed off because, I'm supposed to be my partner, what are you doing? John, who was behind them chilling out in the locker room?
Johnny Mundo was behind them chilling out in the locker room. Got out of that tux into that pink fluffy ring gear, baby. I love it. I love it. And they're like, oh, we love Gibbs. And they know that Johnny Mundo is going to be a better partner. Ty even comes out and says, we got you a better partner. And yeah, they all walk out together, ready for the trios title match. And Mundo's like, wait a second. And he gives just the coolest fucking look back in his sunglasses. And he kicks Phoenix, I think, right in the head. And of course, me, being just the shittiest of pieces of shit, I yuck it up. I lap this up like a cat to milk. Phoenix is gonna be alright. He's the man of 1,000 lives, a reason. He's been through far worse, people, trust me. And yeah, just seeing them all saunter off together while Phoenix is just lying there, all dead and such, all knocked out and such, was just glorious. Absolutely glorious.
Yeah, I mean, you say Phoenix has been through worse. I think that that's something that we can all get behind.
Yeah. Eat that dirt.
I mean, I'm pretty sure a quick little backstage beatdown isn't going to be quite as damaging as getting powerbombed through a building.
Through a goddamn building. Yeah, that's right. That's right. He'll be fine. He'll shake it off. He may be a bit pissed at Mundo, but we'll deal with it.
He'll be fine, yeah. Up next, though, someone that might not be fine is Mr. Cisco, because up next in Cueto's office, Joey Ryan, I forget his name. Joey Ryan and Cortez Castro.
Officer Reyes.
No, I forget Joey Ryan's officer name.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
But they're rummaging through Cueto's drawers, and they come across his stash of money.
Yeah, they do.
Officer Meehan.
Oh, okay. Okay, good on you for figuring, because I would have never even remembered, so.
Yeah, Officer Meehan and Officer Reyes are going through. Yeah, they find Cueto's stash of cash. But Mr. Cisco shows up and he's like, hey, you guys, how come I wasn't invited? If we were going to rip off Cueto, you should have told me. I would have joined you. I'm going to go tell Dario about this. Joey Ryan pulls his gun. Officer Reyes runs up, grabs Mr. Cisco, slams him up against the wall. Mr. Cisco, and then he stops and he says Mr. Cisco's real full name. I didn't catch it, but he said it. You're under arrest. And he freaking puts him in cuffs. Oh, and Joey Ryan has his freaking badge out, and this is happening.
Okay, I'm gonna field it to you in a few moments, but just a few observations I wanted to get off my chest. One, this actually reminds me of other scenes in the trailer that we haven't seen, and I think it's gonna be imminent. Cisco in the jumpsuit, in the orange jumpsuit, in that, I guess, interrogation room.
Yep.
Joey Ryan was fucking gold here.
He was. This was really well acted, surprisingly enough.
Because he pocketed the money, and Officer Reyes is like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just making sure we get our well-deserved bonuses. I love the level of scum that this bastard is. Like, you people think that I'm awful, and there's certainly precedent for that, okay? I need copious amounts of care that I am never going to receive. Let's just make that clear. This guy is a level of scum that I salivate to achieve. Like, you are on the investigation of your life. Serious shit going on, and he still makes time to pocket the money. Cisco was great, because even though he didn't mean to be comedic, I love that his whole gripe was, you guys didn't invite me. Like, I was even joking with Ashton, because I think we were on break when I said this to you. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, why didn't you send me a Facebook invite? Like, it just seemed so in character for Cisco. And then, of course, you know, they revealed their cover, and they took Cisco in. So now I'm going to field it to you, Ashton. Clearly, they didn't intend for this to happen. Joey Ryan actually initiated the whole thing, because if you remember, he said, I'm starting to look like a worse cop than you, because we don't have anything. Yeah. So he was feeling that sense of urgency. My question to you is, we know that Officer Vasquez is getting breathed down her neck. Shut this down. What repercussions do you think this is going to have? And more specifically, because I know it's a broad question.
Yeah, dude, I think that Joey Ryan and Officer Meehan and Officer Reyes are screwed. Because when Cueto finds out that Mr. Cisco just isn't around anymore, if he decides to look into that and finds out that he's at, like, a penitentiary, of course that's going to lead Cueto to ask questions, and he's going to be like, I was just told a couple weeks ago that I have moles in my temple, or at least a mole in my temple, and the people that were the closest to Mr. Cisco that aren't in the penitentiary, despite Cisco being there, well, I think at the very least, Cueto's a smart, shrewd enough guy to be able to kind of triangulate it to figure out that Cortez Castro is a problem.
I'm glad you said that, because
I don't know if he's going to be able to connect the Joey Ryan dot, but I think Cortez Castro is in a lot of danger right now.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm glad you phrased it that way, too, because I could see it going down exactly that way. I think Joey Ryan will still be able to remain inconspicuous in Cueto's eye. And it's ironic, because he was the one that was the catalyst for all this happening to begin with. I mean, his sense of urgency.
He is
exactly.
a scumbag, so...
Oh my God, such a beautiful scumbag he is, too. I'll never reach that level. Like, it almost pains me to just see, like, there is somebody that will always be scummier than I am.
Yeah, I mean, are you ever planning on introducing baby oil and a lollipop to your routine?
Probably not. It really, I know.
See, that's your problem. You're not willing to take it all the way, man.
I'm not willing to commit. I feel so empty. I think I'm gonna have to watch Mufasa die 500 times just to compensate. But that'll be on John time. But so yeah, you think that they're screwed now. You think they're screwed on Cueto's end. On a professional end, what do you think Vasquez is going to have to say about this? Do you think she's going to be happy about this, or do you think she's going to, like, flip her shit? Like, why did you guys do this? Like,
yeah, it's a tough call, because, like, she was specifically told to call off the investigation, and either A, she ignored those orders and went through with it, or B, she was trying to get in touch with Officers Reyes and Meehan and wasn't able to get in touch with them, and they ended up doing this despite her wishing that they would just be off the case entirely.
You know what? And maybe this is me giving Vasquez a bit too much credit, but she seemed really ticked when she was told, lay off of it, leave it alone. She
Yeah.
could go rogue here with these guys and be
Yeah.
like, okay, you got me something. Nobody can know what we do here, except to your prior point, Ashton, Cueto's no idiot. And if he even gets a whiff, that's going to cause problems. So I could really see this coming down to Reyes, Meehan, that's Officer or Joey Ryan's name, and Vasquez doing their own independent investigation, self-funded, whatever you want to call it, going rogue, and them combating the forces of Cueto and whoever else, because we know that big bad hasn't even been revealed yet. And it really could be, is justice going to prevail or isn't it? And I'll reiterate my prediction that I think I said several episodes back. I see this having a dark ending. I see Matanza getting his hand on at least Officer Reyes. I could see Meehan surviving. But Reyes, I think I even said I see him dying this season, and I've got to stand by that. I am worried for that man, bro.
You made that call really early on, didn't you?
I think I did. Yeah, I think he's dying. And to be honest,
maybe I remember you even suggesting that Matanza would kill him this season.
I think he will. Maybe even, hell, wouldn't it be something if we're thinking, because Matanza's responsible, wouldn't it be something if Cueto got his hands dirty or this new big bad and they committed the murder? But I just,
the new, yes. Matanza's great and all, but the new big bad, he's going to show up. Like, I could see a scene where Officer Reyes is like being interrogated by Cueto, and Cueto's just like, it's awfully suspicious that the crew was originally you, Bale, and Mr. Sisko, and Bale is dead, and Mr. Sisko's locked up, and yet here you are, perfectly fine. Don't you feel guilty? And then like he's really like hammering down on him, and he starts to like, it looks like Castro's gonna break, and then Joey Ryan shows up, and it's just like, Mr. Cueto, I'm gonna need to ask you to put your hands behind your head. I am a police officer. You're under arrest. You have the right to blah, 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 blah. And then the new big bad shows up and kills both of them.
I could say it. I could very easily envision that.
Because it's the Cueto's father. It's Papa Cueto.
Because look, guys, and again, I'm not going to get too specific so as to avoid spoilers and not get anybody's ire raised. But if you guys are familiar with, Game of Thrones, House of Cards, any show like that, when you get too close to something like this, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't end well. And I just can't believe that them getting this close. I even fear for Officer Vasquez, and she seems to have the greatest distance in this whole thing because she's not in the temple. But I fear for her, too. I fear for anybody that's sniffing around these parts. And
dude, I'm telling you, my theory, and it's starting to get stronger and stronger now, my theory is that this big bad is Papa Cueto. It is the Cueto's father.
Holy shit, dude.
I'm telling you, dude, the signs are pointing towards it. I'm telling you, like, I've seen people say that it might be Marty and Mariposa's father. I've seen say that it might be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I've seen all kinds, like, I think I've even seen someone suggest it might be Jesse Ventura. I don't think it's any of those people. I am convinced at this point that it is the Cueto's father. Because here's the thing. What is the one thing that we know for sure about the Cueto's father?
Is that he pretty much created Matanza.
Is that he is desperate for power.
Yeah.
What other kind of man would sacrifice his own son to an ancient Aztec god, other than one who's power hungry?
Exactly.
And knowing just how desperate he is for power and how powerful this big bad is, to the point that he's got city councilmen referring to him as Lord.
Yeah.
Knowing that literally, Councilman Delgado told Captain Vasquez, "Oh, you don't have to worry about the mayor. My guy is much more powerful than the mayor." That language tells me that whoever is in this position has to have an insatiable hunger for power, and the guy that we know for a fact has that is the Cueto's father. Plus, the motivation is there. He doesn't want Dario to get caught, because if he gets caught, that trail might lead to himself.
You know what? That last sentiment, though, because I'm loving where this theory's going. So let's work with it. Let's act for just a second like this is established fact. My question to you, given how Cueto's father treated his own brother in Matanza, sacrificed him, used the body as a vessel for a god, should Dario Cueto be concerned and start to sweat when this reveal is made? Because, I mean, if he's hungry
No.
for power,
No,
you don't think...
no, because he's desperate. The thing is, he has the power now. He doesn't. When I say he is desperate, I should rephrase that. He was at a point. He was so desperate for power that he was willing to sacrifice his own son to an Aztec god. He doesn't have that desire as much anymore because he already has the power. He is that powerful now.
Right. Very interesting. Hey, if that's where this goes, my first reaction, our live reaction to that episode will be, well, Ashton, you called the shit out of that.
I'm telling you,
was,
man.
Yeah.
We're a long way out. I'm taking a full court shot here, but it might go in, and I might be ecstatic.
And you very well might be, because you know something? We've been talking about you and I forever. Cueto is such a fascinating character. Him and Katrina, who aren't even in-ring competitors, are the most fascinating characters to me in this temple.
Yeah.
And Cueto's father, we know the mother's dead, but the father was always absentee. Absentee doing what?
Exactly. Yeah, he was never freaking around.
Never around. Why? Because, again, in accordance with your theory, and again, feel free to correct, it is your theory, probably accumulating power and laying the groundwork for moments like this. Just, it really does fit. Because you really can't answer, well, what was he absent for? Because clearly, we see him at one point again, sacrificing Matanza, using that vessel so a god can inhabit it. So clearly he's been dabbling in that shit. And then who's to say, he wouldn't concentrate it into actual city power, actual, political power, whatever.
Well, who's to say he hasn't found out a way to sacrifice himself?
Oh, my God.
Or worse yet, because he wants to retain what shred of humanity he has left, who's to say Matanza is the only person he sacrificed?
You think he could have an army behind him, maybe?
He could have up to 6 men. We know there are 7 ancient Aztec gods. We only know where one of them is, and that's in Matanza's body.
Dude, I don't want us to, and again, this is all so fascinating to me, which is why I want to go even deeper. I don't want us to lose sight, and I don't want to be the reason we lose sight, but, all this power he has, maybe, he's a reason why, all these tribes have tension. What does he know about the tribes? What interaction has he had with these tribes?
What if he's the one that orchestrated the tribes falling out?
That very well could be. Because what better way to swoop in and take power than to make sure that everybody else is disorganized?
Right. You can't take power from a unified front, but if you divide and conquer?
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was trying to articulate. Yeah, and then Aerostar, does Aerostar even know what he may be up against? If you're right about this?
Gods in the form of man. Well, we've got one. Where are the other 6?
I can't add anything to that. Let's move on. You guys can chew on that theory because fuck.
You might as well just repeat that because up next is our main event.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, this is a thing.
Yeah. Taya introduces Johnny Mundo as the 3rd member of a team with PJ Black and Jack Evans. And this is our match. Those 3 guys versus Rey, Azteca, and Puma. Trios championship match.
This, you know what, dude? Because you know if you give me the ball on this, I'm never going to shut the fuck up and you'll never get a turn.
Go.
So, no,
Good.
You go first.
Good. Go. You go.
Are you sure?
Go.
Okay.
Anytime there's a segment that I enjoyed, you kick it to me. You enjoyed this, I'm kicking it to you.
This was fucking amazing. And I'm not even talking about the finish, which I'll get to here in a few moments, believe me, because I can barely contain myself now. This was amazing work by 6 incredible competitors. The idea that PJ Black, who we all knew before as Justin Gabriel, was in a match like this to really show what he can do. Excellent. Jack Evans, Caltech Star, again, another shout out to you, bro. Oh my god, your boy had a stellar night. Some ridiculous spots. Some of those kicks that he can do just defy human imagination. Rey Mysterio, El Dragon Azteca Jr. And I said this in live reactions. Give that man 2 seasons at least. With the way Lucha Underground works, it'll probably be a lot sooner, believe me. He's going to be that main event player. And when I say main event, I'm talking interacting with guys like Pentagon, Muertes, Matanza a lot more than he already has. World title, just the works. He has it. And I think he's going to be that new kind of anchor for Lucha Underground, if I'm being honest, like that go-to guy. I think he's being groomed for that spot. I see the world in El Dragon Azteca Jr. Puma, just fantastic. What can you say about him that hasn't already been said? And Rey Mysterio, the veteran, a god, ironically enough, given what we just got done talking about, and Lucha Libre in Mexico. These guys tore it up. I think the trios division, Ashton, for me personally, and again, this is why I do want you to get a turn, because I want you to respond to a lot of what I'm saying. Trios division may be one of my favorite divisions in pro wrestling right now, just in general. Like, consistently great bouts. The teams that come together are incredible. There's a point in the match where 619 to PJ Black, Puma gets a 630. Marty Elias is making the count. Mundo pulls him out. Just takes him out. And then we get the most glorious display of heel work that I have ever seen in my fucking life. And if my math's correct, I've been watching this at least 15, 14 years, somewhere around there.
I'm going to take over here. It is
Yes.
so hilarious to me because coming into this match, when they made their entrance, what did I say about this team? I said these guys could be the flippy shit version of D-Generation X for Lucha Underground. And back in the day when DX was in their prime, before they, before the PG only Triple H and Shawn Michaels version, before even the DX Army, where Triple H was kind of the leader, when they were in their sort of original incarnation, where it was Triple H, it was Chyna, it was Shawn Michaels, and the Outlaws, I think, had just joined or something, maybe around there. They did stuff like this. Like, you would have Triple H in the ring grabbing a hold of the ref and trying to talk to him and distract him, and Chyna would get in the ring and low blow the opponent. And, like, there was rampant, constant cheating between these people. And then here we have referee takes a bump and all bets are off. Mundo hits a low blow. Both of the other guys, Puma or PJ and Jack Evans, hit low blows. Jack Evans hits an eye rake. El Dragon Azteca tries to come off the top rope. They duck, low blow. Constantly just eye rakes and low blows for days. And then we get Mundo hits the end of the world. Rick Knox comes in. 1, 2. Prince Puma kicks out. This is despite having been low blowed at least twice and hit with the end of the world. Kicks out. And then El Dragon Azteca gets in. He does his crazy sequence of moves. He manages to get Johnny Mundo in a pinning combination, but Taya is distracting the ref with a chair. Jack Evans comes in, slams it across El Dragon Azteca's back, sorts Mundo so that he's the one in the pinning position. Referee recovers from the distraction. 1, 2, 3, new trios champions.
And what proceeds from that will go down in the TWitWoW archives and the TWitWoW lore as my favorite live reactions that we've ever done, period. I want everybody hearing the sound of my voice right now, please, if you've been waiting for it like I have, if you've been following me since my pacifist days, please go and watch that. Yeah. Because...
And I will be uploading it as a separate video. I don't want to upload it right away. I did upload it right away, but it was a mistake. It was a horrible decision because people on the West Coast still have not seen Lucha Underground yet, and I kind of spoiled it for some people, and for that I do apologize. I have since deleted the video. I will be uploading it. I even tweeted that I would upload it at midnight. I think I'm going to wait until 1 just to make sure that even the West Coast replay is done being shown, just to really ensure that I don't spoil anything for anyone or anyone else. Again, I apologize if I spoiled it for you already. And the 10-minute video of just from the time Marty Elias gets pulled out of the ring until the very end of our live reactions, 10 minutes of just pure John markout.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to really say much after this point because I feel like the live reactions spoke for themselves. My favorite episode of Lucha Underground by far. I have waited for this for so long. And really, I'll tell you what I'll use this forum for. Just thank you to everybody who waited, who tolerated my fandom, because I know between this and Kevin Owens, I have enough foresight to know that it can be a bit much at times and maybe a bit obnoxious to some people, but you never criticize me for it. You let me have my fun. I appreciate it. It was an emotional one for me. You guys took the ride with me. You took the ride with TWitWoW, because I know Ashton's been waiting for this too. It was absolutely incredible. Amazing matchup too. And the idea that Rick Knox even made the count, like, you couldn't ask for anything better. I'm still wearing, normally I've had this tradition where, like, I'll only wear my Johnny Mundo shirt during Johnny Mundo matches, and then whenever that ends, I'll switch out to another shirt, because I make the joke, I don't want plebeians, like, all that infecting the shirt. I'm still wearing it because I'm on cloud nine. Like, we did it, got the championship win. By the way, you can probably still get this shirt at bottomlinemerch.com. Quick plug there. They have great Mundo merchandise there. Fucking love this shirt. Just amazing. Like, I was near tears. I'm actually surprised I didn't cry. I think if we ever do get to the world title point, guys, like, tears will flow. But I was able to keep it together. I am even amazed I have a voice right now to do this, because I really put my back and just be like, yeah, it's so empowered and growling and all that shit. It was magical, and I really hate that word. I'm not gonna lie to you, because Disney World, it's so magical, and it's like, yeah, but no, for me, I am just in such a good mood right now. I can't wait for the replay. Just us rewatching it and just hearing the commentary, Melissa Santos and everything. You were talking about a guy who has really busted his ass for 10 years. And really, and another thing, too, on this forum, let's give proper due here to Jack Evans and PJ Black. I mean, Jack Evans, who has been so phenomenal in Lucha Underground since he came here. I know you and I have loved his heel work, Ashton. He's so charismatic. And the thing is, like, he's not even one of those heels that he's so charismatic to compensate for the in-ring work, which is fine when again, you really have that personality. You can pull it off. No, this guy is everything. Like, he's the peacock of the fucking place. Like, he has the strut, but he backs it up, in spades. And then, for anybody that's a Justin Gabriel fan, now, of course, he goes by PJ Black, you had to love this, too, because, I mean, the highest point of his career was the original Nexus. Never really got treated as much. Had that brief feud with Cesaro, I believe it was, for the U.S. title, but he never won it. I feel like Lucha Underground, just with this one match, just giving him this main event spot, giving all these guys time and just everything that was done, and then winning a championship, just great, just amazing.
I think with PJ, I think with PJ, it really comes down to quality versus quantity, because, I mean, he is a former, I believe, 3-time WWE Tag Team Champion.
Yes.
But this is Lucha Underground, and this should count for more.
Oh my God. And in my own way, I said that it does count for more. Again, guys, when live reactions get uploaded, Ashton, you said to be up around 1.
Oh, live reactions are up. Live reactions are up. If you want to hear John's freak out, go now and fast forward to like 38 minutes or so in the video, and you can listen to that. I'm planning on uploading a separate video of just John's reaction, because it's that freaking epic, but I don't want to upload that until at least midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern time, so that I can let everybody else on the West Coast make sure that they are able to watch Lucha Underground before they see this in their YouTube feed.
Now I understand. So yeah, I'll definitely, when we get done here, I'll be tweeting the shit out of the live reactions and the separate video, and that I'll be like, downloading, get the audio, all that stuff. That has posterity. I'm saving that forever. Just amazing, guys. So again, to everybody that's put up with me or that's enjoyed my antics wherever you fit, just thank you for taking the ride with me, and thank you for seeing the payoff. And hopefully there are more payoffs in the future, but I'll tell you this right now, if there aren't, if this is as good as it gets, it was pretty fucking good. Like, no regrets, no, oh, well, maybe, no. This was fantastic, and I thank everybody and my cohort here for being, so great about just recording and all the hard work he does. We love what we do, guys, and nights like this are just so special. So, all right, I'm done being sentimental. Everybody sucks but me. Again, that scumminess back in there, but no, in all seriousness, fucking love you guys. Fucking love this main event. Johnny Mundo's a champion. Taiwan Mundo, let us reign. Let us reign supreme. And I'm just so happy. I can't even believe my voice got that high. So, anything you want to say?
I can't believe your voice got that high either.
I'm so weird. I'm so prepubescent. What's going on? Oh my god, yeah. So, man.
I don't have anything to add. This was a really good episode. You say your favorite episode ever. That's got obviously a lot more personal reasons. I would still put it in the top 10 probably.
Right.
Again, that's not counting Ultima Lucha. I count Ultima Lucha as a separate thing.
Oh, yeah, dude, totally. Like, even if, right, you didn't have, or I should say I didn't have, this big Mundo title win, from a narrative standpoint, between the covers being blown of Reyes and Meehan, Pentagon being fully healed and, like, this tension with him and Vampiro, which may or may not have been resolved, and Cuerno having Muertes in a glass case. I mean,
He's in a glass case of emotion.
Exactly. Like, narratively speaking, this was a strong fucking episode. Like, they did so much and blew my mind on so many levels. And Cage as Gift of the Gods champion, and like, oh yeah, cashing this in next week for the record. Like, what? To me, this title win, I mean, for me, it is just a whole nother Sunday altogether. But, I mean, for anybody else that may not even be the biggest Mundo fan, cherry on top of a glorious Sunday was this episode. Just so good on every level. Anything else you want to say before we get to our next segment?
No, I'm just really glad that this episode kind of managed to achieve as much as it did, because a lot went down here, man.
Oh my god, yeah.
That said, let's move on.
High spots and low shots. I'll be short, sweet, and to the point. My low shot's Chavo. You lost the Gift of the Gods title. You're talking about a title that gives you the power of a god and gives you a face-to-face confrontation with the champion for the belt. You know, Chavo had it. He was right there, but he couldn't get through Cage. So, yeah, rough night for Chavo. After all the work, all the shrewdness he exercised to get there, he's right back at square one. So, yeah, easy low shot.
Yeah, I mean, dude, we had 2 title changes tonight.
Yeah, we did.
A majority of the titles in Lucha Underground changed hands tonight.
Exactly. Yeah, crazy.
All right, so my low shot, I have to go. Oh my god, I had it. I just dropped it. I dropped the ball. John, I'm fumbling.
El Dragon Azteca Jr.?
No, it was earlier in the night. No, Mr. Cisco.
Okay.
I mean, your guy lost a match, and that sucks and all, but my guy got freaking arrested. That blows.
Criminal record.
And here's the thing. You could argue that he is I'm doing it again. Not a utility, a witness to murder.
Yeah, really? Holy shit. Yeah, Mr. Cisco is in some hot fucking water.
And even, what's the word? That, like, the person that's the helper, something.
Accomplice?
Accomplice to murder. He's an accomplice to murder because he helped. He held Bale up to the cage.
I'm so glad I was able to help you that one, because I felt bad for your previous ones. I'm like, I don't know what to do, but I came in the clutch with the words like I'm expected to, so I'm happy about that.
Clutch.
I appreciate that. But no, I love your low shot, dude. It's perfect, and I willingly concede that you got me beat, probably because my smile's so big, I'm afraid I'm going to stretch out my face, because my high spot, Johnny fucking Mundo. I don't know how anybody could have seen this going anywhere else, and I don't think you did. And I'm not gonna be a lucha underground and just be like, oh, here's an unexpected twist. No twist, no turn. Johnny Mundo. Finally tasted. And you know what's funny, Ashton?
Johnny Mundo.
Just a weird little, fun fact. The 2 guys that Dario Cueto said never tasted Aztec Gold both tasted it on the same night. Cage won Gift of the Gods, and Mundo won a trios title.
When did he say that they had never tasted Aztec Gold?
It was the night that he paired them together in the trios tournament against, I believe it was Rey, Azteca, and Puma.
With Taya,
yeah. Yeah, you remember? Because Cueto said, I'm sure you'll be able to put your difference aside because you 2 have never tasted Aztec Gold, and they both tasted it on the same fucking night.
How about that? What a catch.
That's crazy to me. Yeah, dude, easily. No contest, no ambiguity, none of that shit. Johnny Mundo is my high spot.
That's awesome. Well, I'm never going to one-up that, so I'm just going to take the other guy that won gold tonight. My high spot is Cage, the Machine.
Dude, he's had one hell of a season. Like, you may feel like you didn't one up me, and on that emotional perspective, probably not. But objectively speaking, Cage has had such a trajectory this season, and for it to just continue with him finally tasting Aztec gold, and gold that could lead to the gold, to the treasure of the temple. You know, it all comes down to next week. Cage has had one hell of a fucking season, dude. That is an excellent high spot.
Yep.
So, with that said, any concluding remarks that you have?
I think it's safe to say we can close this out.
Okay, well, guys, with that said, this has been Lucha Underground. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Ashton, what question do you have for our subscribers this week?
Do you think Cage is going to walk away from his match with Matanza at all, or with the world title?
Ooh, I like the phrasing of that question. Yes, guys. Next week, Monster versus Machine. Get those picks in. Who do you think comes out ahead? Talk to us, talk to us, talk to us. Be sure to take that conversation over to Pweetoff. That is Pro Wrestling is taking over Facebook. Nicest group of people you will ever meet that love wrestling. Lucha Underground fans grow by the week. I don't know if it's gotten to the point where there is like a Lucha Underground thread like there is for Raw, but maybe that's where...
Well, we wouldn't know in the first place because we wouldn't be able to participate in it because of the fact that we're live reacting.
That is very true, but if there is, you'll have a voice there, and if there isn't, maybe that's because you haven't invented it yet. So get on in there, guys. Also, be sure to check out the TWitWoW Facebook page. We are on Facebook. Like, share, and comment on the content there. If Facebook isn't your medium of choice, we also have a TWitWoW subreddit. On the TWitWoW subreddit, you can find all of our TWitWoW content, and members of the subreddit can create threads of their own on all things related to pro wrestling. However, for the best possible experience, especially for nights like tonight, I highly recommend you follow both of us on Twitter. I am at John_TwitWoW. That is JOHN_TwitWoW. Ashton is at apond404. That's the letter A, pond, the body of water, POND 404. And we will see you again for our NXT review, where we'll just keep snowballing towards the next takeover on June the 8th. What's going to happen? I don't know, but what I do know is you can always get your best coverage here at TWitWoW. And until then, tune in and peace out.